The Red Kid is back, the YouTube comeback is on, and it's time for a new video on YouTube. Now, I already have a Total Drama video on my channel from about 5 years ago, but this is going to be a legit video on Total Drama specifically. So, what I'm looking at here is the 5 worst plot lines from Total Drama. Now, it'd be almost too easy to include stuff from every season of Total Drama considering what there is in Total Drama Revenge of the Island, All Stars, and Pocket 2 Island. So, for this video, I am sticking with the original 3 seasons, Total Drama Island, Total Drama Action, and Total Drama World Tour. Now, not all 5 things listed are exactly plot lines, one of them in particular is more of a moment, but they all still do have major impacts on the show, so I'm going to count them anyways because who cares. The first thing on the list is Lashana's elimination in Total Drama Island, which is absolutely one of the worst things to happen in the show. I understand the writer's perspective to have Lashana be 5th place and to not advance to the Final 4, but for this to be the way that she was voted out just felt like a total slap in the face. After everything she did for the whole season, she was voted out because, what, she was too likable?
Don't worry, I'm not gonna vote for Lashana.
Lindsay!
No, you can't vote for me. You have to vote for someone who's in the Final 5, like Lashana.
There's no reason they couldn't have used the very next episode, which didn't even have a real elimination, and used that for Lashana's elimination instead. They already had episodes this season where the person who placed last in the challenge was then automatically eliminated, and if they really needed an easy way to write Lashana out, they easily could have just done this. So it's a very lazy attempt at eliminating a likable character just because they're likable. And of course, likable characters have to be eliminated in order for the ones who cause drama, like Heather, to stay to advance the story, but these eliminations should also make sense, and in Lashana's case, it doesn't. Justice for Lashana. Next on the list is Ezekiel going feral in Total Drama World Tour. Now, because this stretches out for several seasons, I won't go too in depth about it, but this whole thing was just super weird, especially for a guy who already had a decent arc of being eliminated first twice. To me, that's all Ezekiel should have been known for on Total Drama, kinda like Francesca on Survivor, and of course, one is actually likable and the other isn't, but everything about Ezekiel going feral was just super weird. And then, Ezekiel plays a major part in the ending of Total Drama World Tour when Alejandro tries using him against Heather, and then when he eventually takes the money and falls in the lava with the money, but then also survives somehow. Having an incredible season end with Ezekiel having such an impact is so odd considering how strong Alejandro, Heather, and even Cody and Sierra were at this point with all of their characters and storylines. Ezekiel then stayed feral in the next 2 seasons and that was pretty bad, but I'm not going to get into that. And I feel like if they were going to do anything with Ezekiel in Total Drama World Tour, they should have followed the same lines as Tyler and Noah in this season, or even Justin in Total Drama Action, where they actually expanded their characters in a meaningful way. But if they were just going to stick with eliminating Ezekiel first again, then they should have just done that and nothing more. The next on the list is DJ's curse in Total Drama World Tour. DJ accidentally found himself cursed in Total Drama World Tour when his petting of a mummified dog disintegrated, and from then on, he was cursed with hurting any animal he came in contact with. I feel like Team Victory as a whole was just a big flop, and I guess that was the point considering the irony in their name, but I feel like there could have been a better way of handling it. The DJ plotline this season is just so repetitive. If DJ lasted only a couple episodes while doing this, that could have been more tolerable, but because it happened for so long without any real type of development, up until his elimination episode, it was just so bad. And besides, DJ literally could have quit at any time, so that also just makes no sense to me. There were times where he even did try to quit and eliminate himself, and something got in the way, like Harold quitting or Lindsay losing some tiebreaker challenge on accident. There were times when DJ really wanted to leave, but other times he'd just stay and keep going as if he wanted to actually stay.
Since Izzy's gone, we don't need another elimination tonight, right?
Wrong! Drop of shames that away. You can let yourself out.
It just made no sense that someone so determined to leave just couldn't for some reason. Now of course he did quit the season prior, and maybe the writers didn't want DJ to be a 2-time quitter, but I feel like DJ was easily replaceable this season considering what happened. DJ went through a lot of good character development in the season prior, and this season just did a lot of damage to him, and in the end, nothing about this curse has changed. The animals still hate him, he's still scared of them, and that's all. It all just felt really pointless, and I feel like another character could have used DJ's time on this season for some real character development. Next on the list is a combination of a couple things that all intertwine and have to do with one character, and that is Trent and Total Drama Action. Specifically, Trent's obsession with the number 9 and the end of his relationship with Gwen. After everything that happened between Trent and Gwen at Total Drama Island, with Trent finally winning her back in the finale after everything they went through, it just felt so cheap to immediately create problems between them and then start to pivot towards Duncan and Gwen. And I'm personally not a huge Trent fan, as he's really just a normal, average guy who's good for bouncing off of others, such as Gwen, but his paranoia and craziness just felt kinda out of place in this season. And Trent liking Gwen and being worried about her isn't anything new, but this was just a whole nother level that they went to, especially with Duncan being involved and then the whole 9 thing. And the idea of someone throwing challenges to win someone over is a good idea, but the quick turnaround from the finale of Total Drama Island to the first few episodes of Total Drama Action that made Trent do this for Gwen just didn't feel right. They're finally in a relationship, and after all of that payoff, they instantly try writing their relationship off? Trent and Gwen could have had a really fun arc of being on competing teams while also trying to balance their healthy and new relationship, but their breakup just seemed to be waiting to happen the moment the season started. This also leads into Trent's obsession with the number 9, which I guess was some attempt at trying to give him some sort of quirk or personality trait in order to give him some extra depth, but this was just so out of nowhere. He starts doing things in 9s when he becomes ultra paranoid about his relationship, but according to him, it's also just his lucky number. But then in the previous season, it's something that is never brought up at all. And I don't know, in Total Drama Action, they totally screwed up Gwen and Trent's development together, as well as Trent as an individual character. Like I said before, Trent worked best when he was just the normal guy who could balance Gwen out, but they really ruined that in Total Drama Action. I would have liked to have seen them reunite in Total Drama World Tour and maybe even try to rehab Trent's character. And then, they kind of continue Gwen and Trent's awkwardness with each other after Gwen's eliminated in Total Drama Action and in Total Drama World Tour, but it doesn't feel like that they ever really got any proper closure. This was just a huge misstep in one of Total Drama's most incredible developments. Now, this is a more controversial one, but hey, I have to be honest about my feelings, and for this one, it is Gwen and Duncan's relationship. Going straight from the mishap of Gwen and Trent's relationship, this leads right into Gwen and Duncan's. The two of them were cool with each other in Total Drama Island, but Total Drama Action is really when they started ramping up the fact that they're good friends and have a lot of things in common. It's almost like a fanfiction where two characters with similar personalities or interests are immediately paired up without any type of development or depth. And then in Total Drama World Tour, Gwen and Duncan become official when Duncan rejoins the game after quitting and when he kisses Gwen in the confessional. The love triangle was a cool idea on paper, but it just failed in execution. Duncan and Courtney had so many ups and downs, and some would even say that they're toxic, but I feel like they were going through some legit development. Even in Total Drama Action, where they went back and forth between hating each other but not being able to hide their feelings for each other, it actually felt like there was time being dedicated to their relationship. Gwen and Duncan just don't have any depth to their relationship, period, and it just feels like they were paired up just for their similar interests, like how I brought up with the fanfiction analogy earlier. And while I'm not going to get too into Total Drama All-Stars, the whole thing just feels like a waste of time since the two of them don't ever get that much development just between the two of them. And throughout the entire show, most of the development takes place between Gwen and Courtney, which was actually good, but Duncan and Gwen just becoming a thing for having similar interests sucked. And I'm always going to be a huge Duncan and Courtney fan. I'm a ride or die, and I personally believe that they should have never broken up. And maybe Gwen just shouldn't be in relationships if these are what are going to come of them. I mean, her and Trent break up pretty quickly despite finally getting together after lots of development. And then her and Duncan's relationship doesn't even have close to the same amount of depth, and eventually in All Stars, which as I said I'm not going to get too much into, their relationship ruins them as characters as well as Courtney in the end. There's a good idea in there somewhere, but the writing just completely fell flat on it. And I'm not saying I could write an entire Total Drama season to perfection, but if Duncan and Gwen were given some proper depth to their relationship, and the handling of all three of their individual characters was better, then the whole plotline could have been a success. Although, if I was writing Total Drama, I wouldn't have even involved Gwen with Duncan romantically in the first place. Okay guys, so that is the list of the top 5 worst plot lines in Total Drama. I wanted to come out with a little bit of an interesting topic that's maybe a little less explored. You know, the writing in the latter 3 seasons of Total Drama is not as good, so there's plenty of stuff from there. So I wanted to especially focus on the original and great seasons of Total Drama. You know, ones that people might overlook. You know, but like I've stated before, this is just the beginning of my YouTube comeback, and this is for real. You know, I'm being serious about this. Total Drama is not going to be the main focus of the channel, but Total Drama is still going to be a regular topic on the channel, along with reality TV and wrestling. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, please leave it a like, subscribe for more videos, and comment down below if you have any other cool ideas that I could do a video on. And like I've said before, this is not a one-time thing. I am really back. Thank you guys for watching.